Honestly, having a major movie studio label on your jacket is so lame that it's probably the punkest you could do. But since that's so punk it's ultimately lame, this asshole gets a sin. Anarchy in the UK and what a crock of This band kinda sucks, but they suck in a conceptual way, not in their execution. If anything, Dewey is objectively the most technically proficient player they have. I know his antics are silly, and that's the reason they get for firing him, but they're hardly antithetical to the goodness of the band's music. So this whole f***ing movie begins on a faulty premise for me. His ribs all survived this.
He is a lazy freeloader, and it's time for all this dysfunction to stop.
And thus begins the biggest girlfriend as a wet blanket characterization since Gretchen Mol and Rounders. Look, it's not Sarah Silverman's fault, but this character's so one-dimensional, I'm pretty sure I'm looking right through her.
Ned, aren't you tired of letting people push you around?
No, not until the end of the movie when we need a trip to Bountiful moment.
I would like your share of the rent now, please.
Oh man, you know I don't have it. You wake me up for that?
There's really no way around saying this at some point, so I'll say it here early on. Dewey is a dickface that chases his own selfish desires the entire film, until at the last minute he has a super sudden change of heart. He's more of an asshole than Lightning McQueen, and that's saying something.
Ned has the most important job there is.
Temping?
A substitute teacher is not a temp.
Say what? The entire notion of substitute teaching is exactly temping. God bless them and all, but these folks ain't out there molding hearts and minds. They're throwing in videos and playing chalkboard Jeopardy, man.
Yeah, you think it's so easy? Well, I'd like to see you try. You wouldn't last one day.
Plot shadowing.
I may never have another girlfriend.
If that's the case, I have to ask for the receipts on how you got this one.
We voted. You're out.
Man, I was not expecting this movie to be a Pearl Jam biopic.
And you're an embarrassment.
Guy in that shirt has the balls to call someone else an embarrassment. Lamp, lamp, lit candles, lamp.
Is this Mr. Schneebly?
There's writing a name that sounds silly in order to accentuate someone's nerdiness, and then there's Schneebly.
If the kid gets out of line, I got no problem smacking him in the head.
We don't use corporal punishment here.
Okay, so just verbal abuse?
Top private school principal totally misses huge red flag about the new sub because she's in a hurry. I know movie's got a movie, but in reality, Dewey would have been fired at least 6 times within the last 2 minutes.
When's lunch?
The children just had their lunch.
Okay, you called him early in the AM though, and he raced here. It was an emergency because the regular teacher broke her leg on her way into school for the morning. So how did it take 3 hours for them to get Schneebly here? I want to send the principal for missing another red flag, but if the kids just had lunch, then the movie has some explaining to do with the timeline. One of the film's biggest sins is the fact that this class has a pet hamster, and it's never mentioned even once.
Miss Dunham only gives us recess for 15 minutes.
Hey! You're not hearing me, girl. I'm in charge now.
If my own personal experience in middle school taught me anything, and it didn't, it's that at least 50% of these kids would narc on him instantly. Is Dewey an unbelievable artist? Because that drawing of himself isn't just good. It's like photorealistic.
Oh man, this guy sucks, man.
It's not enough for Dewey's band members to fire him. Apparently the entire island of Manhattan thinks he sucks. Okay, look, I'm willing to buy that Dewey has some interesting tastes in bands. For instance, I'm not a big Rush fan like he is, but I understand their appeal. But I'll be good and goddamned if I'm gonna let the presence of this Stained sticker go unseen.
Here's a useful lesson for you. Give up. Just quit.
Why is Dewey launching into this tirade now? Sure, Ned turned him down yesterday, but he's only been out of the f***ing band for like a couple days. You're telling me a guy this relentlessly optimistic turns this pissy this quickly?
Mr. Schneebly, it's after 10. On Tuesdays, the children have music class now.
Right, cool, awesome. Any reason why you waited until now to tell him though? Movie wants this to be a Dewey is dumb moment, when it's really just a no one told Dewey the moment. Listen, I know this is a fancy-ass school and all, but it ain't Lil Juilliard. I mean, there's no way a general studies elementary school is rehearsing a Joaquin Rodrigo guitar concerto. Movie has time for this Jack Black eyebrow bullshit. If you store your guitars in a van parked outside in this climate, you don't love your guitars. And them certainly ain't tuned at this point. Not one motherfucker in this entire institution sees Dewey doing this. He's bringing a ton of equipment into the school.
You ever played electric guitar?
My dad won't let me. Thinks it's a waste of time.
Try this one.
Judas!
Come on, come on, come on, come on, now touch me, babe.
Jeez, of all the songs not to play at an elementary school. Somehow this doesn't send the entire school into a state of panic, or even cause one person to pop their head in and wonder about that drumming noise that shook the whole building.
Katie, remember that note I taught you, the G?
Alright, I've physically gone as long as I can without taking a sin off for what could be Jack Black's best performance. He's perfectly cast, interacts with the kids delightfully, and truly loves the music that they're playing. And this scene is a great representation. This movie isn't perfect, but there are some beautiful moments like this, so take that sin off, baby.
I do not want to have to fail you.
I thought you didn't believe in grades.
This girl is CinemaSins.
You're gonna be the most popular guy in school, trust me.
I know Dewey's trying to build up Lawrence's confidence here, but I also think he actually believes this. But everyone knows the only time a keyboard player is the most popular guy in the band is when you look like Ryan Gosling in La La Land.
Lead guitar, Zack Attack. Take a seat.
Did you even let any of the other kids try to play the guitar?
On bass, Posh Spice.
Man, this was a dated Spice Girls reference even back in 2003. And I should know, because I'm still making dated Spice Girls references.
Can I be the band stylist instead?
Of course you can, Fancy Pants.
I mean, this movie holds up just a little bit worse than you remember, doesn't it?
You three, groupies.
Yeah, this entire scene is a little uncomfortable. There's a reason that the entirety of the rock and roll lifestyle isn't supposed to include prepubescent kids, you know? Discount Max Fisher.
I research groupies on the internet. They're sluts. They sleep with a band.
If he'd just called them the fan club instead of groupies, then we wouldn't have to watch a little girl talk about sleeping with band members.
Look, my mother's a room parent.
Then how the hell has she not heard or experienced any of the tomfoolery that's taking place? Have these people ever been to a private school? The parents are all up in that man.
What about Sabbath? AC/DC?
At least ask them about era-appropriate rock bands, like the White Stripes, Linkin Park, or the Foo Fighters. This scene that is supposed to be about them not knowing rock music has stacked the deck against them based on age.
We have awesome material, which I wrote.
You literally just asked them about their favorite bands because you said you all needed to figure out what kind of sound you wanted to have as a band. But you were planning on using your pre-existing songs, which already have a sound, which means all this was pointless?
And then, Hawaii Five-0. You ever see that show?
Well, no, it's 2003. Had you set this movie in 1975, or even 2015, then the answer would sadly have been yes.
We came up with some names for the band. The Bumblebees?
No,
The Koala Bears.
no, what are you talking about? It's too sissy.
How about Pig Rectum?
I really like this movie, but it cannot resist cramming in a line that's completely out of character just for a cheap joke.
This is Ned Schneebly. He's covering for Gail.
I'm introducing him now on his 4th day because I just do what the script tells me and I'm a terrible principal. Hold the phone. This movie where Jack Black is just playing a PG-13 version of his Tenacious D character has a role for a late 30s balding pudgy white guy gym teacher and it did not cast Kyle Gass? The f***ing hell?
Yeah, now raise your goblet of rock.
This is hilarious, but as much as I love watching it, I'm also reminded that these kids are going to be way behind in their algebra comprehension once they hit 8th grade. This scene about him being up early and happy about work and that confusing his roommates makes me wonder why they were crawling up his ass about rent at 9 a.m. 5 days ago and have said nothing else about it since.
You do your guitar after your homework and chores, and only what Miss Shinecock gives you, all right?
Who the hell talks about this to their kid in the parking lot right before school? This is a 5 p.m. conversation at the earliest, and it's super f***ing convenient to Dewey's perception of Zach's family dynamic. Wait, they're still soundproofing the room? How the hell have they not been discovered yet then? The greatest failing of this movie is that its original songs are all half-assed and lazy. This song here is basically just an insurance jingle. Liberty, 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 liberty.
Those that can't do, teach. And those that can't teach Jim.
Of course, we know how charismatic Dewey is, but he's been a f***ing social pariah until like yesterday. This is as sudden of a hero turn for a character since Bob Wiley wowed all the psychiatrists at the hospital in What About Bob? Sorry, including the Doors in this history of rock chalkboard lesson was entirely unnecessary. The Doors suck. This montage that's supposed to show the progression of the kids' rock talents really serves as a reminder that this is impossible to happen under the watchful leadership of a helicopter school. He's teaching him how to kick while playing keyboard, which might be the lamest thing a guy ever thought was rock and roll. No one sees this
The Nina, the Gordon,
The Pinta?
Pinta.
You know, Dewey's probably put more time into fake teaching than he would have to do for actual teaching. And maybe that's supposed to be the point, but it's never revisited again. And is only a means to an end for his own rock goals.
We are good to go.
You know, this isn't some seedy underground rock club. This is an actual battle of the bands, where you can win actual money. But no one from the event is even questioning the appearance of the gathering of the very young children here.
Don't make me come back here.
This year, moments like this are what keep this movie from ultimately getting filed away as great, because the lead actor couldn't resist indulging a bit too much. It's why, tragically, almost no one ever talks about Me, Myself, and Irene, honestly.
One great rock show can change the world. Do you understand me?
Man, this movie is way too Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey than I think they intended. He lies about the kids being from a hospital. Just read that sentence a few times and let that sink in. This is how the rest of the movie is allowed to happen. Because of this lie he also taught the kids to go along with. God, this guy is irredeemable. He could give Jesus mouth to mouth on the cross and he'd still be irredeemable.
What do they all have?
It's a rare blood disease. Stickatodemoneosis.
This works. This van never once breaks down or gets pulled over for pollution, and that's a sin. At this point in the movie, they're playing Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song, which used to be a super f***ing rare song to hear in a movie. But halfway through Thor Ragnarok, it had officially become a cliche. So, for starting that cliche in this movie, here's Sin!
We have a name for the band.
Hit me.
You made a t-shirt of the name without first clearing it with the obvious dictator of the band?
School of Rock.
Roll extra credits. There's no way this closet should be able to hold this drum kit and stool and drummer. Also, dragging my drums into the closet was the name of my second cousin's rap album about growing up wanting to drum in a family full of saxophonists. The last time they had to fool the principal, she stopped outside and merely listened. But here she walks in, and they had to be visually ready with the ruse as well. My question is, how do they know when she's going to stop at the door and listen versus coming all the way into the room?
Sorry to interrupt, but Miss Lemon said she heard music.
Well, was Miss Lemons just not paying attention the last week and a half, or what? Because honestly, today has been one of the more quiet days for this room under Dewey's rule.
Yes, I was testing you. It's 9.
How can the principal be smart enough to be wary, but then dumb enough to fall for this bull?
I would really love to talk some more about your philosophy on, teaching. Do you think maybe we could grab some coffee?
What's the point of this invite? Dewey's trying to get Roz drunk so that she'll agree to the field trip, but there's no way he would think she'd hold to that decision. So it's just an excuse to have Joan Cusack play drunk, which is fun, but unnecessary and therefore sinful. That dartboard is in a dangerous enough spot that I bet someone dies in the next 5 minutes. You can't just put dartboards on corners or any old place you want.
But you guys have a policy about field trips, huh?
Would it be educational?
Stevie Nicks and a third of a beer is all it takes for Principal McFlippyflop to change her mind completely about a substitute teacher creating his own field trip.
Scratching ass surviving. Good time.
Could you stop that, please?
Character finally says to Jack Black what the director has heretofore been unable to say to Jack Black.
They hate me.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. They sure do. I can see.
Movie has officially lost its way.
You wrote a song?
It's not that good.
I feel like 33% of this movie is characters refusing to play songs that they eventually play.
Come on, I want to hear it, Kurt Cobain.
Jeez, probably the movie's attempt to keep Dewey's uncouth reputation alive for the audience, but what a joke this is. The only connection to this kid and Cobain is guitar playing. I'm ashamed of this movie for this lazy joke. I do love listening to Jack Black sing guitar solos, but since he started at the school, he's suddenly forgotten how to actually play lead guitar. We heard him at the beginning of the movie, man, and he was f***ing good.
For those about to rock.
It would be nigh impossible to do a bonus round for how many times the word rock is uttered in this movie. So, conservatively, I'm going to say it happens 86 times. So let's just go ahead and take care of that now.
But you have to come. You're their teacher. You have to give the presentation.
This movie is really just a competition between Joan Cusack and Jack Black to see who can play the more exaggerated versions of themselves.
Why don't you pick me up at, say, 6:40?
Why don't you tell him where you live, though?
I'm a fraud.
No, you're not.
Did I mention this movie has lost its way?
He says when he grows up, he wants to be a musician.
This dad rivals the Kurtwood Smith Dead Poet Society character for the extent to which he hates art and his son maybe being interested in art.
He's not even a teacher.
You called the cops?
And they showed? How is this a police matter at all?
I have been touched by your kids. And I'm pretty sure I've touched them.
We got pedophile humor, y'all. This shot presupposes that Dewey not only found a way out of the classroom that was crowded with indignant parents, and through the door that was blocked by the cops, but also had time to grab 2 guitars and get this much of a head start. The f*** is this? These dickheads in the black and red cars have blocked in at least 2 other people's vehicles by double parking like dickheads.
What about the project?
So the morning after, these kids are devastated to learn that their previous teacher is a fraud. The school just parks them in the classroom by themselves to chat about it? Man, don't any of these pearl-clutching angry parents have jobs? It's a weekday, damn it.
Where's Mr. Schneebly?
He didn't tell you? He's at his house. We need to go pick him up.
Okay, a lot to unpack here. First of all, Dewey never did get permission to do the field trip, and then basically got exposed that same day at the teacher-parent meeting. He did not have time to set up a bus driver for this. Second, someone at the school would have found out about this field trip and bus driver if it were scheduled through the school, which it would have to have been, and would have called the bus driver to tell him Schneebly was a fraud and the trip was canceled. Third, this bus driver apparently thinks it makes sense that a teacher changes the route of the bus for the field trip, doesn't phone to tell the bus driver that, but does communicate the new instructions to him via a 10-year-old little girl. Fourth, how the f*** is Mr. Rogers, the bus driver, supposed to know where f***ing not Ned Schneebly lives? Honestly, this is one of the most yada-yada moments in all of modern film history.
Excuse me! Just 1 second, please.
Damn, this angry mob of parents has proven to be extremely escapable.
What's going on?
We've got some rocking to do.
Well, better call the cops again.
I'm sorry I lied, and it's not cool to lie to your band.
Come on, we're gonna be late.
Movie doesn't even want to spend any time on Dewey's change of heart and apologies and It has rockin' to get to. Who cares about character arcs and moral lessons? These kids are adorable, so f*** you. I'm honestly trying to wrap my brain around the idea that slacker legend Richard Linklater would schedule his final act around an all-important Battle of the rocking bands in the middle of the day on a weekday, and it's going to be shockingly well attended. This is Dewey's old band, and they're going to win this battle of the bands with a ballad. Battle ballads belittle the bottled-up bitter backbone that is the basis of better band breakthroughs.
How's security?
We're set.
The hell? You literally just got here. Security team has had no time to check this place out. And also, the security team was mostly about keeping the principal and other teachers from finding out about the band project anyway.
That's just one guy's opinion. This ain't my band, it's our band.
This sudden 180. He's only sorry because he got caught. He's only humble because everyone saw his ass.
All right, let's pray. God of Rock.
School prayer.
What about the lights? All the cues are to the other song.
Okay, Gordon, you're just gonna have to feel it. You gotta improvise.
In other words, it's lights. It doesn't really matter. Just push some buttons.
Maybe we should just get tickets.
All right, let's get tickets.
The real winner here is the Battle of the Band's bank account. Next year, they can afford to have it at night. I'm not going to play this song because I'm scared Jack Black will show up at my house with a subpoena, but let me just say, this is f***ing awesome, and really worth the price of watching the whole movie. It's hyperbolic and histrionic and way over the top, but it's awesome nonetheless, and it earns a sin removal. There is no goddamn way the parents turn this easily. This show should end like the end of the Blues Brothers playing Everybody Needs Somebody to Love, surrounded by angry but entertained cops.
The winner of this year's Battle of the Bands competition is No Vacancy!
I guess it's an interesting wrinkle that the School of Rock didn't win, but does anyone believe that these f***ing jamokes would win against any competition? Didn't they just suck like 3 weeks ago? Did the addition of Spider seriously put them over the top? And now the kids will close out the Battle of the Bands that they did not win with a cover of an AC/DC song they definitely never practiced. This could have been an all-timer. Instead, it's a forgettable charmer. What a pity. Lots and lots of minutes of educational rocking.
I just like coming here to sketch people in crisis.
Now that you've raised your goblet of rock, it's time to check out the cinematic awesomeness that is Mubi.
I should have said a poet.
Every day, Mubi premieres a new film, whether it's a timeless classic, a cult favorite, or an acclaimed masterpiece. A movie you've been dying to see, or one you've never heard about before. There are always 30 different films to discover.
And that's a magic number.
With Mubi, each and every film is hand-selected, so you'll never spend more time looking for something great to watch than actually watching something great.
This is the f***ing American dream, y'all.
It's your own personal film festival, streaming anytime, anywhere.
Let's talk about something important.
Sure thing, Blake. Throughout May, Mubi will feature its annual Cannes Takeover.
You think I'm f***ing with you? I am not f***ing with you.
I know, right? This year's lineup will feature Lars von Trier, Gus Van Sant, the Dardenne brothers, Takashi Miike, Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, Tommy Lee Jones, and many more. If you've seen or heard one of these messages from us before, you know that you could get a great deal through the URL Mubi.com/CinemaSins. But to celebrate the Cannes Film Festival, for a limited time, you can get 3 months of Mubi for $1. From now until the end of the festival on May 24th, go to Mubi.com/CinemaSins to get 90 days of great cinema for just $1. If you're watching this late and missed this promotion, don't worry. Our usual 30-day extended free trial will be back at Mubi.com/CinemaSins after the festival. So sign up today and you won't be disappointed. Experience the very best of cinema at Mubi.com/CinemaSins.
I'm gonna form my own band, and we are gonna start a revolution.
Who's coming with me? Who's coming with me?
You ever played electric guitar?
My dad won't let me. He thinks it's a waste of time.
We're nothing but grains of sand.
Learning is the prize. Yeah. Knowing how to read something and understand it is the prize, okay? Knowing how to think is the prize.
I've been sitting on some awesome materials.
Is it better to burn out than to fade away?
Rip, shred, tear, rip it out!
You're the cat's pajamas, man. You're the bee's knees.
This is the bee's knees, item 9.
What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what?
What was that first chord?
D.
Play it.
Please would be nice.